Alrighty, so as a recap, last time you guys had ventured into the island a little bit, encountered some particularly nasty spiders, lost one of your crew members along the way, scouted the exterior of the island and the interior lagoon, found the remnants of a previous settlement here, kind of like ruined docks and wharfs and the like on the inside of the lagoon, with a path that leads into the jungle and then up into the mountains. During the night, you were assailed by a creeping, breathing fog and some of those mutated monkeys. Karo decided to light the signal fire, and the fog seemed to shy away from the fire and eventually retreated back up into the mountains. But the signal fire did attract the attention of a passing ship, which beached itself in desperate need of repairs. The colonel of that, the captain of that ship, was a renowned, basically an asshole. And Karo and Cleitus decided to relieve him of his command. Brief scuffle with some of the crew of the Windblade resulted in Karo claiming command, and the men agreeing. I mean, fair combat is fair combat, and you now have a ship capable of making the journey to Tortage, which is probably the closest civilized area to where you are. But the ship is going to take repairs. Tebian, as a skilled craftsman, you would know it's going to take 5 to 7 days with the crew helping to get this ship into something you would deem seaworthy. Still not going to be great, but it's at least going to be, you're not going to sink a mile off the shore of the island. And I believe that's where we left things.
That sounds about right.
For Tebian, the ship is going to need new sails. It's going to need holes patched. It needs desperately to be taken into a dry dock and have the barnacles and everything scraped off the hull. You're pretty sure, though, there's stuff on the island that you can effect repairs necessary to get you to a port, but you definitely don't want to be out on this ship any longer than is necessary.
Well, let's get that started.
Well, let's get started. Let's get started on the ship anyway.
And altogether, there's probably about 13 or so crew members between the remnants of the Ebony Rose and the crew of the Windblade, including their previous first officer, a fairly burly gentleman named Grim. So you do have enough of a work crew that you can delegate the tasks to them, so you don't have to stay and oversee them. They understand that, you know, they're not getting off this island without this ship, so they're not gonna lollygag. They're not going to, you know, take 2 hours to pound in a single nail. They're going to do the tasks assigned to them.
Excellent.
And we'll let them know that this place is infested by mutant monkeys, so they probably want to get out of here too, just to make sure that they're aware that this place is dangerous.
But I will get Tebian to give me a crafts roll.
I can't get into Foundry, dude. Or Forge rather, or whatever this is supposed to be. So somebody else give the craft roll while I try to figure out why this is fucked up. And or you can take my word for it what I roll. Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. So
You got one success.
Hello, everybody.
hello, how's it going today?
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, finally managed to get in front of my computer. Yay!
It's a good
the little
start.
things. It's the little things that make life worth living.
Yeah, I finally tackled some of my lawn this morning, and it was ungodly. But I'm like, it's only 19. It feels like 19. I'm gonna get shit done. So Tevin, you can definitely get the folks motivated. You guys, go grab some trees, chop down some trees. You guys, those fronds over there will be able to, touch the sails with them at the very least. Those vines over there can make ropes, so you can like delegate a bunch of things to the teams. There's probably like 3 different teams that you can delegate to different tasks, but they're like, yes sir, of course, no, absolutely, and they just
Let's make sure we keep a guard too, right?
Yep. The Ebony Rose folks will kind of keep an eye on the pirate folks just in case. So once you've got that all done, what would people like to do?
I need to brew some stuff.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, I've got. Was it enough burning ingredients for 6, and enough spider ingredients to make 5 of it? Probably. I'm thinking maybe I'll use the spider stuff like a blinding powder from the poison sacks.
Alrighty. So with your Master of Formula talent that you just picked up, what would you like your specialization to be? Which of the petty enchantments?
Oh, flames. Rory's going to try to make like the Conan version of napalm at some point.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's what you need on a boat.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good for
time.
it's good for enemy boats, I suppose.
Exactly. Burn. Then they can't run away.
Alrighty. So the way alchemy works for both Rory and Tebian, anybody with alchemy can make the difficulty 0 things. Takes you 1 ingredient, you make a thing. You make like some simple burning alcohol, some sand to throw in the eyes, whichever. 1 ingredient to make a thing. For Rory, you can, because you have Dabbler, you can make any of the things, but it takes 3 ingredients per dose. So if you wanted to make like a difficulty 5 blinding sands, you can certainly try, but it's going to cost you 3 ingredients to do. Because of your Master of Formula for burning liquids, you can make anything from difficulty 0 to difficulty 5, and it only costs you 1 ingredient. Obviously, the higher the difficulty, the harder it is to make, but also the stronger it is.
Gotcha. Alrighty, well then let's do... Did I make just level 1 ones before?
Just level 0 is all you've had so far.
Oh. Well, okay then. Let's, I've got 6 burning ingredients, so let's make 6 level 1s, and we'll see how they turn out.
Alrighty. So that would be 6 separate alchemy tests.
Okay.
All right, I'm in.
All right.
Hooray.
Well, let's get that out of the way first.
All right. And with your alchemy talent, you can re-roll one of the d20s.
Oh, yes, right. Sorry about that. Ha! One.
So what are you making? What are you making? Healing potions?
No, I'm making level 1 burning potions because that's my focus, and so they're stronger than the other ones that I made. So this is kind of cool, and I have to roll 6 times, so I might actually generate some momentum for us.
Yeah. Important note: there are no healing potions in Conan.
That makes a lot of sense. That is very Conan.
That's why I've decided to brush up my medicine skill too.
There we go.
Bingo.
And start spending some of that momentum on the other rolls, and you'll generate more.
Yes, that's a good idea. Let's do that. I'll spend the 2 with this to roll 4 dice, and it'll be awesome. I think 6 successes is maxed out, is it not?
That gets you 5 momentum, but you're almost at max. Yeah.
So how much momentum are we allowed to have at once?
6.
All right, I'll forgo any spending then. We'll get the bank up to 6, hopefully. I'm going to re-roll that 20.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea.
When you're dealing with volatile liquids that explode, yeah.
That never happens in Conan.
Yes, never.
Nicely done.
And I think I just got 1 more left, I think.
Oof.
Oh, that re-roll ability is awfully nice.
Yes, it is.
They always are.
So yeah, so it is going to take several hours of spending time at your little kind of field alchemy kit. But you have these like very like volatile berries that you manage to distill down into a very high proof alcohol.
Nice.
So they will do.
The finest in beverages that'll make you blind.
So yes, so they do 4 damage instead of 3. They incendiary 3 instead of 2, and they still have spread 1.
Nice.
And just for future reference, the higher tier ones, difficulty 2 and up, add area into the thing, so you can hit more than one target.
That's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Well, that's when
I'm
it
with-
starts to get real dangerous.
Wow.
Yeah, I
I'm
posted that in general if you want to take a look at the chart.
I'll also spend 3 of the spider sack ingredients to make some poisonous version of a blinding powder.
Okay.
And I'll do that at level 1.
Okay.
Is this something I can assist him with because I have alchemy too?
You could actually, yes.
Yeah, let me assist. I'll be the assistant.
Okay, I got 2 successes though, so we're good. All right, 6 burning bombs and 1 poisonous blinding powder. Sounds good.
So if you want to make note, the blinding powder does 4 damage. And it is blinding, stun, and non-lethal.
Yeah, but and the stun. Also, when I'm doing this, I also want to have a look at that black stone that we found at the old dockyard site.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes, that would be a lore roll.
Hey, what roll?
Lore.
Okay.
Lore is for knowing stuff. During the preparations and the repairs and things, unless somebody needs them, Claudius is going to be probably supervising the guards and keeping a watch on repairs and things.
Okay.
All right. 2 successes.
So 2 successes. You can tell like it's very worn by the water and the elements, but it appears to be it's carved out of some sort of black stone. You're not sure what. You know it's not obsidian, but definitely some sort of black stone. And as you kind of like move it around and kind of angle it around, trying to get the light to hit it the right way to pull out the details that have been worn away through the weather and through time. It looks like it's a mass of tentacles, kind of like vaguely sack-like body.
Something like a giant squid or like an octopus.
Maybe kind of like a squid or an octopus if it was like standing on its head, because the tentacle mass is kind of at the top of the statue.
Okay. Odd. So, freakish tentacle monster.
Just our luck.
We haven't been having very good luck lately, have we?
Well, no, not really. But our luck just changed. We got ourselves a ship. If you can put her back together.
I'll find Trevor's character and maybe he's seen something else because we're from different parts of the world. So I'll point it out to him and see if he knows anything.
All right. I've been to Numidia and Aquilonia and basically the Bosnian marshes, which is pretty much Scotland, I guess. Well educated, so is this something I'm familiar with?
Maybe. You can give me another lore roll. You might be able to know something more after Rory kind of gives you the overview. See if your book learning has taught you anything.
All right, you're gonna have to remind me how to do this because I can't find my character.
Under the actor tab, you should have it there.
So the third tab over on the top that looks like little people.
Yeah, PCs. Perfect. And under skills?
Yep.
And which one? Lore?
Yes.
Yep.
I got good lore.
Spend a momentum.
Cool.
Should I
Yeah,
spend a momentum?
Absolutely. We have lots.
That's what it's there for.
How did that go?
4 successes, buddy. That's nice.
5 actually, because of your sage talent, it lowers the difficulty on war checks by 1.
Ha ha! Nice.
You're smart and stuff.
Also, does your character then have something that might allow you to re-roll one of the dice?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with these rules hardly at all.
Or I guess what's your lore? What's your number? Your TN?
4, I believe.
Oh, your expertise is 4. What's the TN on the?
16.
Wow.
Oh,
you are
okay. 15's a success, anyways. Don't worry about that then. You know all the things.
Yeah. So just as a quick overview, in case it comes up, so Sage will let you lowers the difficulty of basically anything covered by the lore skill. And Scribe means when you're making a lore test, you gain 1 bonus momentum for every d20 that rolls less than your lore focus. That can only be used for obtaining information.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that 1, for example, would give you an additional momentum that you can spend just to specifically ask questions related to this.
Oh, booyah.
Yeah, so I got Hunter, Tradesman, Subject, Sage, Scribe, and Sharp Senses. For you guys who are smarter at this than I am.
As Rory kind of points out, you can see where the tentacles, while they were once probably very finely carved, they've just kind of melded together with time and water damage. But you can kind of make it out, and you think that you see like a little, almost like a very crudely carved figure at the bottom of this idol. Assuming everything's to scale, that puts that tentacle-y mass at about 30 feet tall.
Oh.
Yeah, what kind of draws your attention though is there's specifically 13 tentacles that you can make out, and like octopuses have 8, squid have 10. There's no natural creature that you know of that has 13 tentacles.
Unleash the Kraken.
And kind of casting your mind back to the time you spent in Numidia and Aquilonia in the libraries, looking over like various assorted esoteric information. And you think this is definitely a statue representing one of the creatures of the Outer Dark. Rumored to have been, worshipped by decadent cults in the days of Atlantis and Lemuria. So very, very, very old.
King Cole era.
Yes.
They liked their lizards back then.
So this little statue is, hundreds, if not thousands, of years old.
Might be worth something.
And then if you have any additional questions, you do have the 1 free momentum from your scribe, and then if you want to spend any other momentum to specifically ask questions, you can do so.
Do we have any other questions? Is this cult still active? Or just long gone?
You're not sure which exact outer dark entity this represents. But there are rumors of cults to them still operational, usually in out of the way places where they can conduct their foul rituals unmolested. Places like deserted islands that are not on any charts, that sort of thing.
It's kind of like when the sorcerer, conjured up the whatevers, and we were supposed to be sacrificed because, well, he needed a sacrifice to the dark gods. So this is maybe one of the dark gods.
I'm pretty confident that's true.
Aye, it is. Why don't you hang on to that? It's probably, it might be worth something if we get into the world, but you never know.
It's thousands of years old, and it's a niche cult icon. I'm sure it is.
Aye, I'm sure there's some rich power somewhere that's probably worshipping the dark gods, and they probably wouldn't mind having it.
We should split it. Sell it and split the profits.
Yeah, maybe we can buy a whole new boat.
How much is that thing worth? You want to buy a boat with it?
Well, it's really hard to say, Lottie. It really depends on whether or not we get an antiquities dealer to really kind of hone into it and have a buyer for it.
Well, I assure you, if we can get to civilization, I can find a buyer for it.
Well, then, that sounds like a great idea.
Are we talking a longboat or are we talking a galley?
Well, I guess it really depends. I mean, the material itself, it's not obsidian, it's something else. So even that, it's almost got a slight gemstone quality to it. So like something like jet, but not really quite like that. So yeah, it could command a fair price, I would think.
There's always a sucker that'll buy something rare and old.
That's what I was thinking.
So while they're doing all their investigations and alchemy and whatnot, Chris, Carol will be, much like Claudius, paying attention to the work and what people are doing and making sure that the new chain of command is well understood. He has guardsman eye, so I can use my command skill for observation, insight checks, defend against thievery as well in a crowded area. So he's just looking to see if there's any shenanigans.
Just leave the geeks to themselves.
Yeah, I hope Gladius is far away from this entire conversation, really.
All right. So the two of you, you notice that the pirates, the members of the Windblade crew, are still, like, they're still looking to Grim for further orders, basically. But he is definitely towing the line. You can tell, like, he understands there's been a change in command. These things happen. But you guys understand that if he doesn't give the nod, the pirates still don't completely respect the change of things. So he's very definitely kind of like a linchpin to ensuring that the pirates continue to behave themselves.
All right. Well, I want to have a chat with Grim then. And we don't have to narrate the whole thing, but basically, Caro is remarkably charismatic. He wants to make sure that Grim understands that, and apparently he does. But he's going to encourage Grim to, talk with his four shipmates to, bring them on board, get them invested in what we're doing here.
Like, they'll I think they'll become more invested once they've seen some coin, once they've once they've made some money.
I believe I gave everybody a gold's worth of stuff last session, so they've been paid.
Yep. You don't understand how much the previous captain owed them. So they're definitely happy with the change of circumstances, as am I. I was hoping that Captain Moran would accidentally find himself too close to the rail one drunken night, but circumstances are what they are. But these men they're pirates. They're cutthroats.
My kind of people.
So you understand that what you paid them is enough to ensure their loyalty for now, but it's not the sort of thing that keeps loyalty unless the coin keeps flowing.
Well, of course. No, obviously we need to get this boat going first. But once the ship is ready to sail, we'll be bound for Tortage?
Tortage.
Tortage.
However you say it. And once there, well, we'll make proper repairs and we'll get to proper hunting.
Excellent. I'll let the men know that, but it's going to take them some time to adjust. But don't worry, I'll make sure that they understand the reality of the situation.
That's lovely. And you understand the reality of the situation as well.
Absolutely.
Well, it's my hope that once we get to port that you choose to stay with us. You seem very competent.
Well, we'll see which way the wind blows, but it's not the first time that I've seen a change of captain at sea. Probably won't be the last.
Well, hopefully we'll maintain the status quo for a short time at the very least.
But rest assured, Captain, as long as the men continue to hold me in respect, I'll make sure they hold you in respect.
Understood. I'll make sure you get an extra share for the hard work you're doing.
Thank you.
And yeah, so Guardsman I'm just making sure that there's no mutinies being plotted or any of that sort of thing.
No, there's not. There's a little bit of hard feelings between the sailors from the Ebony Rose who are, they're just sailors, and the others who are more like hardened pirate crew. But everybody is kind of working together for the common good, as it were.
Yeah, not dying's good.
Exactly. And there's no sign of mutiny. And it could entirely be just because of the fact that there's really not enough of them. But for the time being, no mutinies are being planned.
All right, so I'm going to go talk with Clydius real quick. Claudius.
Yes, Captain?
Well, I've been told by our good friend, the crafter, that this thing's going to take a week to get before she's seaworthy. I don't know about you, but I'm not feeling comfortable waiting for a week's worth of monkey attacks and fog coming out of that fucking mountain. What do you think?
I suppose you want to go up the mountain then.
Well, whatever's up there causing all these shenanigans, well, it likely bleeds, and if it does, we can kill it. I'd rather kill it instead of waiting for it to kill us.
That's fair, I suppose.
That's my 2 cents. What about you? What do you think?
You think we should take everyone or a small group?
Oh, I think we should take our small group. We'll leave the captain of the Ebony Rose and the crew to watch over the pirates. They all have their duties and responsibilities. They seem to understand them. We'll just go take a look, see what we can see.
I would suggest that a morning expedition would probably best, or be best rather.
I agree.
All right. So we'll spend the day making sure everything's organized, and bright and early tomorrow morning we'll go figure out where these monkeys are coming from.
That's probably best.
All right. Yeah, let's make that happen then, shall we?
Alright, so you guys are waiting till the morning to set up after Rory has got all of his potions and stuff ready to go?
Yeah, get everybody organized. We're going to make a lot of fires. A lot of big fires.
We shouldn't have any trouble gathering some wood.
No, there is plenty of wood. You guys can set up like several signal fires along the beachfront.
Yeah, the fog didn't like the fire, so we're gonna use that as a shield of some sort.
Yes, we'll create a perimeter of small fire. Well, manageable fires.
Okay. So yeah, with your kind of like barricade of fire bonfires, you do notice like during the night, because everybody's used to being on a ship, everybody's used to keeping watch. The fog does creep through the jungle, but it stays away from the beach, where you've got kind of like this, almost like a border of fire pits placed close enough together to so there's no place where there's no firelight. Takes a lot of wood, but you can tell that the creeping fog does not cross that line.
It doesn't like the light or the heat. Can we tell?
Give me a observation roll.
How about Tebian do that? Because he's really, really good at this.
Well, let's see if I got observation.
Just one roll, Chris, or anybody?
My observation's only 12.
Mine,
We'll say whoever's got the best observation.
mine's 13.
There we go.
So that will give you one momentum. And as you're watching it, and watching how it reacts to the torches, to the bonfires, it seems to dislike a combination of the light and the heat. Enough for you to determine that it's probably neither one individually. It probably has a you don't want to say a fear, because you don't think the fog is actually sentient enough for that, but it has an aversion to the fire itself.
Yeah, fire bad, tree pretty. Gotcha.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, Clydeus is not one to think about it too long or hard. Just like, yep, it doesn't like the fire.
Well, let's see how many torches we can whip up before we go climbing a mountain. Roy, I assume you can figure out a way to make a stick light on fire.
Can I spend a momentum, Chris, of the 2 that I generated for tracking it back to its point of origin, just by the way it's rolling out of the jungle?
If you want to track it back at night, yes.
Well, get an idea. Which way?
You can't really tell, because it does, as it rolls out, it encompasses the entire island, and as it rolls back to a point.
All right.
So you could definitely follow it if you wanted to.
Nope. Nope. Not interested in that at all. So we'll put that 2 momentum in the pot.
But since you did roll so well, you do notice as it rolls out, it kind of takes on almost like a red coloration as it gets close to the fires. And as it seems almost to like kind of reach out with like foggy tendrils, almost like it's feeling around to see if it can find a weak spot where it could penetrate. And when it doesn't, you see blue flickers through the fog.
All right. I will pass on that it flickers blue and it can't get through the fire. Whatever that means, I don't know.
No, Carol will make a show of standing, on the right side of the fire, but staring down this fog, just so he could use his inspiring leader to make sure no one's getting too frightened. He's going to make it a point of, hey, this is fine, we're good. Fuck this thing, we're going to go kill it.
Yeah, it seems we got a good perimeter set up, so just make note of that. And even if we don't find the source of it, we should be able to keep it at bay.
Oh, we'll find it.
All right. So morning comes. Everybody is safe and secure. The crew gets up. Has a fairly quick breakfast of some water, some local fruits, things like that, and then gets back to work. They don't need to be told what to do like each day or each moment of each day. They know what the job is, and they just go about doing it once they've had something to eat.
Perfect.
And do you guys want to make torches? That would be a craft roll or survival, your choice.
I think Rory's good at survival, and Trevor's guy, whose name escapes me, Tebian is good at crafting. So can we get both of them to do it?
One person can, and the other person can help.
My crafting is 16.
Yeah, my big key with the survival roll is that I lower the success threshold by 1, so it can turn a 1 into a 0.
What's your number?
Oops. Just a second. I have survival at 9.
I think we'll go with craft. Even I get you, but
Yeah, fair.
All right. So Rory can roll 1 die anyway as he's helping.
Okay. Just 1d20?
Yeah, just slash R 1d20. Because I don't think the character sheet has a way to roll just one. Okay. And Tebian can give me a crafts roll. Okay, so that is going to be... so you get... basically, you get 1 torch plus 1 for every momentum you would like to spend.
How many torches do you want, guys? We have 3 momentums right now, right?
You just generated 1, and then there was 4 in the pool.
Let's use, what do you say, two torches for now?
I'd feel better with 4.
Do we have enough for 4?
Yep.
All right, let's have 4.
Then hopefully we'll get some more momentum on the way. Fire seems important.
All right. So you guys outfit yourself with some torches, very well made torches. Like they don't look like they're gonna burn too quickly. And
No leftover human femurs involved.
no leftover human femurs involved. These are quality torches.
Nice.
Whew.
Nothing but the best.
I even put a little decoration carving on them.
They have
Maker's mark in it, yeah.
They have like a little bit of like a wrap around the handle so that you don't get splinters.
A little watermark at the bottom, embossed watermark at the bottom for my name.
There you go. Quality craftsmanship.
Take pride in your work.
That's right.
So where would you like to go? You guys do know that you did see a mountain on the northern side of the island that seemed to be where this fog emanated from.
I think that's the first place we're going to check, anyway.
And how would you like to go about getting there? Do you want to dock at the ruined wharfs and make your way up the path that you discovered? Or do you want to like take the longboat around to the northern island and hike it?
Good question. What do you gentlemen think?
Well, the path will see us coming, but the other way's harder.
Claudius?
Well, if we can see it, it can see us. And I don't see why we should restrain ourselves if it's going to see us coming anyway.
Well, it is possible that no matter what we do, it's going to know that we're coming. So we might as well just take the stairs because it's easy.
That's what I'm saying. Why arrive tired?
Exactly. Why
Well,
can't no.
We'll just kick down the front door.
Wouldn't have stairs if we weren't invited anyway.
Right? So yeah, we're gonna dock at the docks and take the stairs.
Alrighty, somebody give me a sailing test, whoever is,
Claudius, I think, is our best sailor.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I can assist if you'd like. It's one for me.
No problem.
so not a problem at all navigating your way to the docks. You run into like a little bit of rough water, like in the kind of the opening between the two halves of the island, but nothing insurmountable. Make your way to these ruined docks and pull your longboat up on shore. There is like the kind of the ruins of what may have been a boathouse of some nature in days past. It's where Carl found his sword that he's put to good use. And there is you can find the path that leads up into the jungle and then hooks around into the more mountainous regions of the jungle. And it's these like wide stone slabs set into the ground. It looks like when they were all intact that there was probably a complete, not cobblestone pathway, but definitely a manufactured stairway, and then pathway that led up, indicating that it was probably used frequently. But time and weather, like much else on this island, has caused like some of the stones to be just completely overgrown or cracked or otherwise in disarray.
All right. How long does a torch last for?
About an hour.
Okay, so we're not gonna just use one just in case. We'll save them.
Nope. Save them till we need them.
You manage as you start to make your way into the jungle. You do hear like the cries of jungle birds and the chittering of monkeys. The jungle is definitely teeming with life in this area.
Goddamn monkeys.
And whoever, I think Rory is the best with observation.
Nope.
Claudius is pretty good.
Tebian's good too.
Oh.
I think he's got to reroll.
Sorry, maybe it's quite. Anyway, whoever's best can give me a observation check.
I have a 12.
You got sharp senses too, right?
That's correct.
Oh, so do I.
There you
I have
go.
a 13. But I mean, whichever.
You go.
Okay.
Well done.
So you make your way into the jungle, and it is slightly overgrown, but this path still seems to be relatively clear. I mean, it's not completely clear in an unnatural way, but it's also not completely overgrown.
So it's been used?
It does look like it perhaps has been used.
If this is a new area, I've got a free momentum
Uh,
to
it
spend for
it is
questions.
it is a free area, new area for your scout ability.
Excellent. In that case, I will spend a momentum, or the free one rather, to look for tracks.
There are some tracks. You notice two kind of distinct sets of tracks that draw your attention. One of them is one of them definitely looks like it's of the ape variety, but large, like probably a little bit larger than a human foot. And you look and you see the knuckle prints as well, indicating some sort of larger ape that kind of walks on its feet and its knuckles. And you also kind of in some of the dirt, you see boot prints.
Oh, we're not alone.
So
Got some big monkeys, and that there, I believe, the boot print.
and looking at the boot print, it looks like it's been here for a while. It's just that there's nothing has managed to disturb it. So it's not a fresh print that you're looking at by any stretch.
Ah, gotcha.
So what's that tell us?
Well, I imagine if it's not a fresh print, that we already know that there were people living here, dying here, some time ago.
Yeah, the print's probably several weeks, no more than that.
So some time ago, but not too long ago. Could be that damned wizard making a deal with whatever's at the top of the mountain.
Well, not much we can do about it now. Let's go forward. Let's get our weapons out. Be ready. I've had enough sorcery for this particular week.
Yeah, I've got a spear and a dagger, so I'll pull a spear out. Or make sure the spear's ready.
Sounds appropriate to me.
Lead us up, Claudius.
Yep.
Okay. So as you continue to move through the jungle, you hear the sound of something large, some things large in the jungle, kind of to your left and to your right.
Claudius will point that out.
Find us a spot to hide, will you?
Like, I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, so we're going to look for a place that we can, hide or set an ambush. Or...
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
Stealth. Group.
Yes.
Ugh.
How does that work? I get an 11.
Yeah, basically one person leads and everybody else can help.
Yeah, I got 2 successes out of that.
So by help, let's roll a 1d20.
Yep.
That's a hit for Claudius.
Tebian fucked it up.
Rory.
No, do I have to? Ugh.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to, but
Worked out okay then.
so 4 successes with Claudius.
All right, so you guys kind of like hunker down in the bush, and you see these very large apes making their way through the tree line. They're probably like a good 6.5, 7 feet, 7 feet tall, alternating between swinging from some branches to dropping down and walking on all fours. But the way that they're spread out indicates that they're definitely hunting, and there seems to be probably more of a glimmer of intelligence than you would expect. Like they're definitely spread out in a hunting party like formation.
Any signs of mutations?
No.
Okay.
Carol put his finger up to his lips, looking at the guys just to be quiet. We'll just hopefully.
And you, as they kind of move through the bush, they get to a point where they kind of like stop. Like these are big muscular creatures. They're not the stealthiest thing. But there gets to be a moment where they stop and they kind of sniff the air. And then one of them very, very like slowly and deliberately like picks up a good size rock that's near a tree and just kind of waits and then throws it with surprising like speed and accuracy, and you guys hear this squeal and a thud, and then they all move over in that direction.
Pig, pig.
Pig indeed.
And there's some back and forth like grunting type sounds that sound almost like communication between them, and they kind of move off to the north from your position.
I don't like them.
We're going to wait for them to leave.
So yeah, after probably 5 minutes or so, they kind of make their way back past you, very obviously like heading in the direction that they came from, and two of them are between them are like dragging this very large wild pig.
Yeah, I'm thinking our goal is to get around these things as opposed to engage them.
I'd be most grateful if that was.
Yeah, and then they're gonna make their way back through the brush, dragging this big pig with them. But they do
I've
not.
got no argument with apes who like pork.
But they do not seem to have spotted you.
Are they heading away from our potential destination, or are they going to it?
Not quite going to it, but going. They're not following the path, but they are going in the same general direction that the path goes. But they're not following the path, and they're leading like a little bit away from the path. So over time, they will deviate further and further from the path.
Shortcut then.
That could have been wise.
But yeah, they definitely seem to not only operate in a hunting party, but also tool use, and the fact that they didn't just eat the pig there, but are obviously bringing it back to someplace.
I don't like it.
Uh-huh.
Think you can get us up the path without alerting those guys, Claudius?
50-50.
I'll take it. Let's get out of here.
Right. Let's have whoever is going to lead the group past these apes can give me. Let's call it a survival check.
That's Rory, I think, right? Or is it Claudius?
I got 12.
Yeah, I got the 9, but I moved the bar down by 1.
What's the difficulty, Chris?
It's basically an opposed roll, so whichever side generates the most momentum wins.
Oof.
In that case, go with the bigger, better number.
I would think so, right?
Yep. And
Yeah, because it doesn't really. My ability doesn't help us this time.
Yeah, and everybody does get to basically help with this roll, and then whichever side generates the most momentum is the winner.
So I'm
we
going
just
to
all
roll
roll survival?
D20, eh?
Yep. So 1d20 for the helpers and 2d20 from the lead.
Sadly, my talents don't help us because we're not on the water. Well, I rolled balls.
I think we're screwed.
So you guys are kind of carefully making your way through. How many successes did you guys get in total?
How many 6 plus?
Rory's got 2. Oh, that was stealth, not survival, right? So 0. Tibian is 8. Is 8 enough for you for survival?
Let me double check.
I think Kevin's the one that might have made a success.
So, yeah, my TN is 12 for survival.
Yeah, I didn't make one.
I think we got none because Claudius failed both, right? You can't assist a failed roll, right? Or is that falling?
Overall, it's basically the same thing, but overall, whichever side generated the most momentum. So Tebian generated 1, but they generated like 5. So
Yeah,
We have massacred. Massacred, I tell you.
they are much better in the forest than we are.
very much so. So you guys are making your way through. You're like, okay, I think we got it. And then you hear this this like challenging bellow from the apes.
I duck.
I make a submissive meep.
Well, last time they did that, there was a rock.
And they start basically kind of like charging through the underbrush in your direction, making no attempts at all to be stealthy at this point. It's almost like they're, you know how like a cat will kind of like puff itself up and make itself look more threatening. It's that sort of thing. Like they're charging right at you, kind of like bringing themselves up to their full height, muscles rippling, very definitely intent on frightening away what they consider to be intruders into their territory.
It's working.
Gonna run through the jungle.
I'm happy to run away from these things.
I was gonna say, do you think that gives us the opportunity to just leave?
Okay.
Let's try it.
I have a feeling it probably run us down, but okay.
You guys are up first. Since there's no surprise, you knew they were there, so.
Well, there's 2 ways to do it. We fight them or we run. What do you think, boys?
Well, all right, lads. Let's just let me try
We
something.
run up the hill.
And
instead
I'm
of back to the
Rory's
boat?
going to hurl a flaming liquid at whoever's in the lead, trying to get them on fire.
Okay.
Animals, they might not like the fire. They might not like one of their own burning to death. Hey!
So your alchemy talent lets you use your alchemy skill instead of ranged combat.
That is correct. And that does allow me some reroll, and it also allows me, I think I'm going to use momentum to help
Yes,
this
please.
endeavor out. In fact, I'm feeling frisky. Maybe I should use 2. Get a real good burn going.
No complaints here.
As you say, you gotta use them.
Yeah, especially when you're good at what you're doing, right? Because you generate more.
Bingo!
That looks good.
I'm gonna re-roll that 19.
Okay.
See, spend 2, get 4.
All right. So you throw the vial. It hits this thing square on. Go ahead and roll your damage. 4 dice.
46.
Yep. And you do have 1 extra momentum on top of anything that's in the pool in case you want to buy like extra damage or piercing or anything like that.
Ooh. What were my options on that again?
Bonus damage. Each momentum spent adds 1 point of damage. You can penetration. Each point will ignore an amount of soak equal to twice the momentum spent. You can use 1 to re-roll any of the damage dice. You can
Ooh.
spend 2 to hit a second target within reach of the primary target.
Well, alright, let's have a look at the damage, and then we'll decide from there.
That's good.
That's going to be 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 4 damage, and then the incendiary is going to kick off and the spread, so he'll take 2 damage to 2 other locations, so he's going to take 4. He's going to take 8 damage total and be on fire.
Excellent. Now, with the 4 momentum I generated from the 2, how many past 6 are we kind of at and have to spend them before we lose them?
You've got 1 above above what you can hold.
Okay, then I will use 1 to... I had a 3 in there, didn't I? And that's nothing?
Yep.
I'll just re-roll that dice.
Okay.
Nice.
All right,
Better.
So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage, and then 3 damage, and then 3 damage from the spread. So 12 damage total.
Nice.
All right. So Rory just like, hang on a sec, and he launches one of those things that he made yesterday, and this little kind of like hollowed out coconut hits the ape in the lead, and it just explodes in fire, and it continues running forward for probably like 3 or 4 steps before it just like pitches forward face down, flames continuing to pour off the body.
Put the lime in the coconut and burn that fucker down.
Morale check, morale check.
You guys are still up.
Well, behind that particular display, Caro's going to give one of his own. So charging out of the forest, Caro's going to same thing they're doing. You know, bristling is making himself look big, waving his arms, screaming, hollering. Hopefully, these things are stupid enough to think he just lit this thing on fire, and he'll use his display to try to scare these things.
Okay.
Heed my words, I think it's called. Which is area stun, 4 damage using command. And I will spend some momentum on this too. It's 1 for 1 in this one, right?
It is, yeah.
So I'll spend 2. I'll re-roll one of those 18s with Captain. And then 4 dice?
Yep.
And I can use 1 momentum to give me 1 damage, I guess, right? Or I can use it to re-roll.
Yep.
Well, 3 effects, that's good. And we're over by 1, are we?
Yep.
So I'll re-roll the 3. I get a 3, but
It was meant to be.
so that was 3 effects, so I can affect 3 of them. I think that's how it works.
Yep. So yeah, Karo kind of runs forward, like screaming like a wild animal himself, and 3 of these apes just kind of like stop for a moment and kind of like look at him like they're trying to process what exactly is going on.
Why this guy, the third of his weight, is attacking them?
That leaves Clytius and Tebian.
Nope.
Tebby,
I
no
think
attack with a spear.
I think a third is rather generous.
I figure they're 800 pounds, and Tony, you're probably what, 210?
Carol, he's probably $185.
Okay.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
So, spear. Steely glare. I don't know what that does.
Steely glare is just staring somebody down.
All right, how do I do this? Melee.
If you go under actions, and you click on spear, it'll bring up options to roll your attack or roll your damage.
Yeah, it says unbalanced and piercing.
Yep. So piercing means any effects will cut through their armor. Unbalanced means if you don't have a brawn of a certain point, you have penalties to hit.
Oh, I guess all right, I see. So I will roll attack. Am I using any of these momentums? Or should I save them for you guys?
It's up to you.
Oh, I'd spend a couple.
I will spend 2. Difficulty average, I would assume.
Yes.
Oh,
Do I get to re-roll that 20?
No. There are talents that allow you to reroll it, but that's it.
All right. So 3 successes
So that will definitely hit.
and a complication.
Yep. So as you run forward, you're slightly off balance, which means it. What do we do? We'll say that the
Spear broke.
No, the spear didn't break. He only rolled 1 complication. But the basically it's a little bit unbalanced, and as a result, you don't have guard currently, which means you can't keep them at bay with your spear.
All right. So now I just roll damage.
Yep.
No momentums on this, right?
You don't have to do
That's
that
all.
until after you roll. Yeah. Wow.
that's a good roll.
That's
It's a good roll.
And
I pillared some guy.
5 piercing 2. That's good.
right in his torso. So yeah.
2 effects generated.
Yep. So basically, for every effect, you ignore 1 point of soak. So yeah, you run up to this ape that's just standing there, confused at Karo, and just like bring the spear through, and it gets caught momentarily in the rib cage. Which, as you pull it out, you realize that you don't have it in the right position to hold them at bay.
My battle cry is like Kermit the Frog introducing an act in a Muppet Show. Ah!
All right, Cleitius.
Right. I think Clytius will hang out around this far side here. And take a slash at that one. I'll spend a momentum to get 2 extra dice.
All right, you have that talent, right?
I think it's No Mercy or Blood on Steel, one of them.
Deathblade.
Ah, here we go.
That looks good.
So yeah, that is definitely a hit with the...
Excellent.
You're using a cutlass?
Using a cutlass. So, if I generated 4 momentum, that gives us 2 overflow, and I will spend that on damage. And I can re-roll those 2 blanks with no mercy.
Damn.
So that's a total of 11.
Yes, because it's vicious.
Yep. So is it? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 actually.
Ah, good stuff.
Vicious and fearsome. So Rory just basically, or not, sorry, Rory. Clytius basically runs up and just like brings his cutlass through the ape's skull and out the back, and then pulls it out with this kind of sickening, gurgling sound as it drops.
Swing high, friends.
The apes.
Claudius, you've always been my favorite.
Oh, this part's gonna hurt.
We'll miss you, dear friend.
What's the reach on your cutlass?
2.
Okay. Oh, one of them is barely going to hit. So that is going to be 2 physical to your torso.
I will take 1 and feel good about it.
But it basically just kind of reaches out and punches and then kind of grabs you and pulls you close to its chest. You are grappled. Unless you would like to pay 1 doom to not be grappled.
Remind me of the effects of grappled.
You are unable to move, and you can take no action except to attempt an acrobatics or athletics test with a difficulty equal to the number of effects rolled. Against an insert target, the difficulty of exploit is reduced by 1. The grappling weapon is a melee weapon. The weapon wielders may not attack with the grappling weapon. Further, the attacker may not move away from the target without releasing the target as a free action. So basically, you can't do anything other than try to escape, and if it uses exploit on you, the difficulty is reduced by 1 step.
Right, I'll spend 1 to not be grappled. But I think we should have 6 currently, right?
Actually, grapple you can't ignore. Stun you can, grapple you cannot.
Oh, okay. In that case, I won't.
Yeah. Stun and knockdown you can. Okay. And then the other one is also going to beat on you. It is not going to hit because you still have your colors. They didn't spend anything to break your guard. So you're kind of keeping one of them at bay, but the other one has.
Oh, good. I use that first one as a shield. Ah, whoa. Back, I say.
And the other ones are no longer stunned. But back around to you guys.
Light him up, Rory.
Yep. Kind of want to get that one that's in the back and not engaged with anybody. Is that a good thing to do?
Yep, you can definitely hit that one.
Okay, we'll do that. So we've got 1 momentum left. So I'm going to take that and use it and see if we can make more.
Please do.
We should have 6 in the pool, I think, or no, 5, because it was full when I got done, and we lost one for the new round, right?
Oh,
There you go. Forgot to add the stuff that you generated.
No worries.
well, in that case, I'll take 2 then.
Oof. That's a
Oh,
that's a solid hit.
root.
So that is 4 damage.
Ugh. How many momentum do I have to spend to re-roll that?
1 momentum lets you re-roll as many of the dice as you like.
Oh, so I can spend 1 momentum and roll all 4 again?
Yep.
Well, seeing as how we're cresting over the top, right? So, yeah, I'll definitely spend a momentum, and I will then do that again. Can I spend another one to re-roll the 2 4s?
No, once they're re-rolled, they have to stay. But you could spend momentum for straight damage on a 1-for-1 basis.
Or is the re-rolling aspect gone?
Yeah, re-roll. Once they're re-rolled, they stay. But you can spend momentum for straight damage on a 1-for-1 basis.
Okay. So let's see. I spent 2. That put us down to 3. Okay, so we gained 5. That's 8. So spend 1. I think I'll spend 3 for extra damage.
Okay. So you spent 4 total, so 1 goes into the pool. So the flames splash over the chest of that one. It definitely feels that, definitely notices that.
Something's burning.
That brings us to Caro, Clytius, and Tebian.
I'll go before Clytius for sure. Caro is going to continue his maddening, just screaming like an animal, acting like a moron. But he's got to charge the one that's grappling Clytius.
Okay.
And I'll use Steely Glare on it.
Okay. I'll say the one that's a little. That's the one that's grappling him.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to try to, make it flee.
Gotcha.
So that is Persuade, not Command, unfortunately. And I'll use 2 momentum, I guess. Because I should be able to generate more. There we go. And Steely Glare is 2 dice, but I get 3 for my stat, which I forgot last time. So that'd be 5 dice. One, two, three, 4. That's not great. I gained 1 momentum, right? From what I spent.
Well, you have 3, and then whatever you don't spend goes into the pool.
So I could spend 1 to re-roll as many dice as I want, right?
Yep.
Why can't I click these dice to re-roll them?
Because it's not an attack. It's a...
Oh, so just roll 2 dice, I guess, right? That's better.
6 damage.
6 damage stun.
He is all kind of stunned.
Hopefully it'll let him go, is what I'm aiming for.
It doesn't actually let him go. He just can't take any actions.
That's something.
Yep. That will bring us to Tebian and Quitius.
I need to roll 2 break free.
Yeah, athletics or acrobatics, your choice.
I got to break free.
Indeed. My acrobatics is slightly better.
Yep. Difficulty is equal to the number of effects you rolled, which was only 1.
All right, we're in, or out rather.
Okay. So you are free.
But that takes my action.
It does. I mean, you can spend 2 momentum for an additional action, or a fortune point for an additional action with no penalty.
Sure. I haven't spent a fortune lately. I'll spend a momentum for 2. Generate 1. So we should have 2 left.
Yeah, your talent doesn't work in the...
I know I have to add a second one for momentum, but it spends 2 momentum, and then
Yeah.
I don't know how else to do it.
Yeah. Easiest way is just to remember to add a momentum after.
Yeah. I can re-roll 2 of those. And still get nothing. Good.
Well, you did do a little bit of damage to his torso.
So I'm using 2. Am I using 2 momentum again?
If you would like to.
Do we have enough, guys?
No reason not
yeah,
to.
go for it.
Well, that broke even. This will be against the same guy I was attacking before.
Okay.
Not so great that time.
And then I'd say use your minor action to retain your guard
Yeah, that's a great idea.
from your complication.
Yep. So that is a parry roll, difficulty of 1.
A parry roll, eh? Nope.
Okay. So yeah, so you're trying to get your spear, because your spear is longer, so if you can get your guard back, they'll have a harder time hitting you. But you just can't seem
Not this time.
You can't seem to get into that position.
I'm not a fighter. I'm more of like a craftsman.
Yeah. Okay then. Their turn.
You're standing in the wrong spot, Trev.
I mean, you can always try and persuade them not to eat you later, like if you want to build them things.
Yeah. Well, that's my hope.
They do seem intelligent.
Maybe you could build them coconut radio.
Oh.
So that was that one up there. So that one will just hit Clytius.
He's stunned, though, right?
Oh, that's right. He's stunned. Never mind. He does not.
Good save.
This one we'll try.
Well,
That is going to be 3 physical to your torso.
Right. I will take 2.
And it will grapple you. This one is going to attack Tibian since he keeps spearing it.
No. Yes.
So that will hit. For 2 damage to your torso.
The bad thing is, without your guard up, they can't not hit you.
Yeah, that's the trouble. All right, so armor soak on torso is 1. Does that help?
Yep.
Or I guess that
Yep. So you take 1 vigor.
1 vigor. I have a little asterisk there from before. Is that from last session?
Yes. So that means that you've already been wounded. So there's a
So now I have 2 wounds.
yeah. So that wound will reopen. I just want to double check if wounds reopen automatically or if it's a roll like it is in Fallout.
So my vigor went from 10 to 8, if that's correct.
Yep.
Unless I healed from last time that I don't remember.
No, healing takes a considerable amount of time.
like forever.
I can only do so much.
Yeah, the mechanics are really interesting that your temporary damage goes away as soon as the scene's done. But any actual damage you take takes a stupid amount of time to fix.
That's kind of more realistic, isn't it?
I think that's the intent, yeah. So, like, the damage that Claudius is taking isn't a big deal unless he runs out, kind of deal.
So yeah, if you take a new harm of that type, treated harms immediately return.
So only if you take a harm, not
Right. So only if you take
just damage.
Yeah, only if you take a wound it does it reopen.
Okay, so that asterisk, I just leave that asterisk there and
Yep.
let it sit.
Exactly.
That's a cool system.
That guy's going to move forward. Oh, he is going to thump Tebian hard. Ooh, really hard. 4 physical to the right leg.
Ooh. Where do I... And right leg, I have no thing, so that's definitely 4.
Yeah. And both of them are basically like kind of like locked onto you. You are grappled by both of them.
Well, shite.
And this guy's going to make his way towards Rory. Actually, no, he's going to stay back where he is. He's going to throw a rock at Rory.
Is that the burning one?
Yes.
Yeah. Must have
Does he burn at the start of his turn or the end of his turn?
There was no effects rolled, so he's not burning at all.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Nice. Ish.
So he does throw a rock and smack Rory. For 1 damage to the left arm.
Oh, a boo boo.
But he rolled a complication, so...
Maybe he's on fire after all.
Yeah, actually, yeah. a little bit of a delayed reaction. So
Yeah, the movement caused enough chafing to kind of relight things.
yes, so yeah, so he is on fire. He will take what is it? It's incendiary 3.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes.
So he will take 4 damage. He's still back there though, since he just threw him. All right, that's all of them. Back around to you guys.
Ooh. So that one that came over and decided he wanted to throw a rock at me, how bad does he look?
He looks pretty bad. Like the flames basically flared up when he threw the rock and then extinguished again. But he looks like his skin is singed. You can see like the blisters forming already. He is lurching heavily. Looks like he had a hard time picking up that rock. He looks really, really badly hurt.
Alrighty, so almost out of the fight. Now, the two that are on Tebian, could I safely ignite one and not catch Tebian?
As long as you don't roll any complications, yes.
Go for it, dude. I've only got 4 points left. They're going to eat me anyway.
Alright, so I will throw some fires at the 8 that's right in front of me.
Yeah, the two of them are basically using Tebian in like a tug of war.
Do we have any momentum or are we done?
There is none.
Alright, well, we'll try to see if we can make some then.
I mean, you can give me some if you like.
You're funny. We don't need it that bad. I'm not giving you doom, so. Yeah, got one.
Yeah, that is definitely enough to hit. So
Woof. Roll some damage dice.
yep.
Would anyone object if I spent that one momentum to reroll those 2 3s?
I would not.
Alright then. I will reroll those 2 3s, Chris.
Okay.
Well
Better.
done.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So you launch it. You see like these two apes. Like one of them's got Tebian by the leg. One of them's kind of got him around the torso. They're like kind of pulling him apart. You like line up your shot and you throw the gourd, and it hits that one. And it's like just flames just kind of coat the body a little bit too close to Tebian for comfort, and it like lets go and kind of like lets out this horrific, almost half human cry and screech, and then it kind of like stumbles a little bit into the jungle and collapses.
Oh yeah.
You've always been my favorite, Roy.
Quickly becoming
I
mine.
get that.
Get him, Gladius.
And don't worry, Captain. I'll when I get back to the ship, I'll start working on the still.
Now we're talking.
I get some white nice whiskey.
Well, I escaped, but apparently there's a complication.
So you do manage to basically get free of that one, but you do end up prone. You still have your minor if you'd like to stand up, but it means you won't be able to move or anything away from that spot.
I will do so,
Okay.
and remain in my perpetual state of being grappled.
Right. Karo and Tibian.
Might as well try to get out, eh, Tibian?
Yeah, and how do I roll that?
Athletics or acrobatics, your choice. Difficulty is 1, because that's how many effects it got. The one that grabbed your leg and rolled 3 effects, so it would be difficulty 3 to get him free, but he burnt to death.
Excellent. I will use acrobatics because it's an 11 and not a 9. No momentums
And
available.
there are none.
That's okay. I'll take it.
All right. So
And somebody can have my momentum.
So you are free. And there is 1 momentum in the pool. Karo is up.
Okay, so Claudius is prone in front of these guys?
No, he does scramble to his feet and kind of gets his cutlass up, but he's looking like he's probably in a pretty bad state.
Like a damaged state or
He's taken a little bit of damage, but it seems to be like these two they're almost toying with him like a mouse toy or a cat toys with a mouse. Like they're just basically like, they grapple him, he like manages to escape, and they almost kind of like chuckle like it's a game to them.
well, we can't have that. Yeah, so Caro, this guy to the north in the top center is the one he's been focusing on. He's gonna continue just he's gonna walk forward, he's gonna beat at this thing with his shield, roar, scream, kick dirt at it.
Okay.
He's still trying to drive it off. Because I'm really crappy with this sword. And we have 1 momentum.
1 momentum.
Oof. And that was persuade, so I can't re-roll it.
The good news is 1 success is all you need.
So, where's my chart? 2, 5 damage.
Yeah, shame we weren't playing Torg.
Yeah, that's just great Torg rolls. Oof.
That's a good roll.
Hell yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And stun.
So it pauses momentarily and then like flees off into the jungle. It's technically stunned, but it's the second trauma that it took, so it leaves. It is out of the fight. Okay. This one it's decided that since Karo is apparently the alpha male amongst you,
Clearly.
it basically just kind of grabs a tree branch and kind of swings over Clytius's head and lands in front of Karo, and then is going to like try to beat him to death.
Oh no, tool users, run!
Ha!
Oof! Ooh,
I'm too scary for you.
what a shitty roll. I mean, 1 success I think is still going to hit. Actually, what's the reach of your weapon?
1. I have a short sword.
So that is going to be 5 physical to your right arm.
My right
We
arm.
gotta get you a less short sword.
That will be 4 damage.
Okay, not enough for a wound. But it's grabbed onto your right arm and basically pulls it and almost dislocates the shoulder. And it's not expecting you to be as kind of like light as you are in comparison to it. And as it yanks your arm, and it hurts like hell. But its arms slip and it basically falls prone because Complication means the grapple is ignored, and then the other complication is it falls prone.
I'll scream at it in rage and pretending I'm an alpha with this 800-pound beast tearing me to pieces.
This one up here. This one, it's going to actually roar at Tebian.
Roar at Tebian.
It's okay, I got you, bud.
Thank you.
So that would be...
I prefer the roar at me than the tug of war that was going on earlier.
So it just draws itself to its full height and just roars in your face for 3 resolve damage.
And he gets a soak from my Inspiring Leader.
How much soak is that?
That is 4 dice. He's
That,
close, right?
he is close, yeah.
Yep, 4 dice.
Okay. So roll.
So I take.
Yeah, roll 4d6, and that's going to soak some of this trauma. It roars at you, and you know that Karo is right there, your leader, and you're like, nah, I don't care about that. You are, however, stunned unless you want to spend 3 doom.
3 doom?
Yeah, add 3 to my doom pile to not be stunned.
No, I'll be stunned. Doom sounds awful.
Doom is my momentum pile.
Which
I'm
doesn't
good
cap
with
at
this.
6.
It does not cap at 6. It is currently at 14.
Yeah, it doesn't have a cap.
Throw another rock at Rory.
But he didn't learn the last time?
2 damage to your right leg.
Well, he likes the right side.
He's bowling.
That's a thing. And so I've got 1 on an arm, 2 on a leg.
Okay. That will bring us back to you guys. The ape up there in front of Karo and Clytius is prone.
All right. What kind of juice do we get for attacking it while prone?
Just gonna double check because they change it between 2d20 systems.
No worries.
Melee attacks within reach gain 2 points of bonus momentum.
Whew. All right, I'll spend one of those for 2 dice.
Okay. But they're not. Bonus momentum means you need to generate momentum in order to get the bonus.
Oh, okay. In that case, I will just attack normally.
Okay.
That's a hit.
Yep. So you have 3 momentum to play with, and whatever you don't use goes in the pool.
Right, so 2 of them are just for this attack, so I will use those 2. Right?
Nope, it's just regular momentum.
In that case, I'll put all 3 back in the bin.
Okay. But you do hit.
Reroll 2 blanks. There we go. That's 7 damage.
All right, so he's the ape's there on the ground, and you cut him deeply across his right arm. It is mostly severed, and he yells out in pain.
And we have 3 momentum in the bin.
Yep. And you guys are still up.
How's the one on Tebian looking?
It is. It is somewhat wounded. It doesn't look like it's bleeding or anything, but it is definitely, like, its breath is kind of ragged and stuff. It's hurt.
Cool. So not as hurt as the other burned one, right?
Correct.
I'd like to overcome stun.
Stun just basically means you lose your minor and major action this turn.
Oh, okay, perfect.
All right. I think the one that's chewing on Tebian needs to be dispatched. So I will throw some fire his way. And I'm going to use 2 of our 3 momentum to hopefully generate a lot more momentum.
Okay.
Oh, you have to set our momentum to 3.
Sorry, forgot.
Thank you. Otherwise, it's like, sorry, you don't understand. I'm going to re-roll that 16. Oh, yeah.
Nicely done.
Oh, nice.
Nicely done.
Oh, yeah. Alchemy's a nice little momentum building machine. Okay, so now I'm going to roll some damage dice.
Yep.
I'm going to spend 1 momentum to re-roll the 3 and the 4.
Okay.
I'll take the 6.
Okay. And there were some effects in there, so he's on fire. That was the one on Tebian?
Yes. So we should have a total, 5 momentum. Awesome sauce.
Okay.
Heave away!
And that one is... Oh, I forgot spread, because you rolled effects. It's going to take half damage to 2 other locations. So that is actually enough to kill it. So yeah, the attack hits like kind of like center of mass sort of thing, and then the flames start to spread, and as they spread, it starts to like kind of stumble back, kind of like beating at the flames, and it kind of collapses just to the back of Karo there.
Cool.
I believe that leaves us with. Is anybody left?
I think Carl's left.
I think so.
So this guy's still prone.
He is still prone.
I think I will stab him in the face.
Okay.
Put your boot on his throat.
And we got momentum, so I'll spend 1. I'm not great at this, so. There we go.
All right. So +2 bonus momentum because he is prone. So 3 momentum.
And I'll just do damage, normal damage. This guy's kind of hurt, right?
Yeah, he is.
That's 3 damage. Short sword only has parrying, so.
Okay. Right. So, back into them. So, minor action, he will get to his feet. And then he will punch Karo in the face.
I'm still the alpha here, motherfucker.
3 physical to your torso.
So I take 2.
So yeah, it kind of like stumbles you back slightly. This one.
Do you still have your shield, Tony?
I do.
You can roll for that.
Yeah, you can roll for to soak with the shield.
How does that work?
I think it's 2 dice.
Yeah, 2 combat dice.
Is that what's the skill for it?
It isn't. It's just because you have a shield and you have guard. You get to
Oh,
roll.
so just 2 combat. Okay.
Yep. It's like bringing cover with you.
Doesn't matter much.
Let's see. He will throw a rock at Tevian.
No.
Well, he hasn't had much luck with me.
But he will miss.
That's the way it
Okay.
is.
He misses you.
That's both of my guys. Back around to you guys.
He makes his own ammunition.
I got a ape to stab, don't I?
Yeah, there is one that you could stab if you like.
Was it the one that was on me?
No, the one that was on you got lit on fire and then burned.
Ha!
The jungle is thick with the smell of like alcohol, fire, and burning monkey.
Reminds me of my old days in Nebia.
I love the smell of burning monkey in the morning.
All right, if there's just one left, I will attack it. But I won't use any momentums, so maybe I'll get an extra one and somebody else can use it.
Okay.
Perhaps not.
Nope, it's still a hit.
Still a hit, but no momentums.
Oh, yeah.
Ha! Take that!
So yeah, so you just kind of run up to the sun and take like a jump and bring the spear down like right through its eye socket and like all the way out the back of the skull because of the piercing as well. Pull it back into your hand.
That's my kind of scholar right there, gentlemen.
Thank you. Do I pass, Captain?
Absolutely. A plus. A plus.
I'll see if I can take out the other one. I'll spend 1 for 2.
Okay. That will definitely hit.
Right. If I put those 3 in, I think that takes us up to full.
Yep. I find the easiest way to do it is do all the stuff you're going to do, and whatever momentum's left at the end, then I'll add it into the pool.
Sure.
It's the same thing. It's just easier for me to track. Oh, ow.
Oh, shit.
Yep. Should be good.
Not to be outdone.
It actually beat me.
That's 11 points.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
That's why he's my favorite.
So yeah, so Clytius is kind of like Sam Jackson. He's like, I've had enough of these fucking monkeys in this fucking jungle, and he just brings the cutlass around like through the torso and with such force that it goes like basically through the rib cage and through the spine in one motion, and basically just drops the 2 halves of the monkey.
And that's why he carves up monkeys and I sew up sails, torn sails.
And then we'll fill up the momentum pool.
There you go. So yes, now you guys are surrounded by these large apes and the pig that they were carrying back to someplace. Assuming you take a minute or two to kind of like look around, any vigor or resolve damage heals, but any wounds taken do not.
Anybody hungry?
Not especially.
Well, I assume you're talking about the pig and not the apes.
Oh, Lottie. Yeah, it's all meat, really, when you think about it. Although I ordered the ape ones, we'd be a little bit chewy.
They seem a little bit too intelligent for my liking. That said, hopefully Ragnar's got to catch up to us soon.
Oh,
I'm sure
you
he'll
killed
drop in
stuff
at some.
without me.
You're missing all the fun, friend.
He kind of like looks at the monkeys, looks at his spear. I missed it.
That's not our fault that you slept in. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll find more.
I hope so.
No, God, I hope not.
All right, gentlemen. Anyone hurt? We all right?
I do have that one little asterisk.
We
Yeah, that
all
won't go away for a while.
got a hell of a bump on the head not that long ago from our private friends who didn't respect the code. But well, good news is they do.
Right. I guess we'll keep heading along the path, shall we?
Let's say so.
Alrighty. So you guys continue on the path, and here and there, you do see signs of previous buildings and previous habitation. Like a partially ruined wall here, or like a pillar and a part roof, like the rest of the building long since fallen away. Definite signs that not just habitation previously, but perhaps even civilization. Just like little things here and there. Not enough. Like you take a moment or two to kick over some rocks and take a look, but nothing here of any worth.
How old is this place, Tabby? Or do you know?
Can I make a reasonable guess?
Yes, that would be a lore roll. That will actually generate your momentum because your lore difficulty goes down by 1 because of your scribe or your sage.
Right. Yeah, and okay.
Yeah, and
And my lore is 16.
Yeah. So you would, taking a look around, you would guess that, I mean, this is, some of the stone is like, granite and other fairly hard stones. Looking at the way you're going to guess that these things are hundreds of years old. Like they
Before the fall of Atlantis.
quite probably, yes.
Oh, hey, Chris. As we're kind of wandering along, I'm going to keep my eye out for those lovely incendiary berries.
Okay. You can give me a survival test for that.
Yep.
Yes, to Tebby and yeah, these are probably
Tree
created-
cataclysmic.
That's interesting.
So yeah,
Yeah,
you do find
but-
a couple. You find 1 plus 1 for every momentum you want to spend.
Right, yeah, because I start at 0, so...
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So that will give
So
you
basically...
so that'll give you 1 momentum, and then 1 plus 1 for every one you want to spend.
Can I help look for him? Roll my own survival?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, he's basically taking a look around as you're like looking over these ruins to kind of judge their age.
Yeah, so that'll give me like 1 or 2 ingredients. I spend the momentum.
Your roll, because you generate 1 momentum because it's difficulty 0. So you get 2 off of your roll, and then if you want to spend any of the 6 that are in the pool, 1 for 1.
No, because with that, at least I only need the 1 ingredient to make it work. So 2 is good, so that's fine. And if we have some downtime, I'd like to alchemy them into more bombs.
Yeah, that would be. You'd have to go back to the ship for that because that's where the lab is.
Right, fair enough.
So yeah, so you find a couple more of these berries that seem to have a very, very high alcohol content once distilled. And Tebby, you can tell, yeah, these ruins are, if not pre-cataclysm, at least in the ballpark.
All right. I will pass that knowledge on to the captain.
All right then, Tebian, spin me a debt, will you? We have this stone that has some sort of octopus on it. And we have ancient ruins here that apparently there was some kind of civilization. What's your best theory?
My best theory would be that there's a wizard up there trying to research old, forgotten, forbidden magic, and didn't like it that ships got too close.
All right. And if I were to instruct Claudius the best way to kill said wizard, what would I tell him?
If it can bleed, it can die. Let's see if it can bleed.
Scripted for the first.
That theory.
There's a talent for that.
Ragnar, Claudius, you have any objections to going and killing a wizard, sorcerer, whatever the hell it is?
As long as Eye Gouger gets to drink. No objections, Captain.
It's getting close to the wizards. That's the problem. It's once we get close, they fall just like anybody else. Easier because they're generally just academics.
I just
And a
watched an
powerful one like
academic.
this. A powerful one like this is probably an old academic.
I just watched an academic stab the eyeball out of an ape from 20 feet away.
I'm not just an academic. That's a side thing. I'm also a blacksmith and a carpenter.
All right.
Academics was
You're
just
very-
a hobby.
You're very qualified. Let's get going.
So you're gonna
Ah.
be
All right, so you guys continue following the path through the jungle, and it does start to wind up into the hills and the mountains of the island. Kind of bends around to the western side. And as you go up the mountain, it starts to get quieter. At first, you don't hear the chittering of the monkeys. And then you don't hear the caws of the birds. And then you don't even hear the buzzing of the insects.
I think we're getting close.
And as you kind of reach the summit of this, you'll call it a mountain. You didn't have to like climb anything. There was a very clear path that led up. And then it kind of dips down into what's probably the long dormant caldera of a volcano. And in the center of this pit, you see a large, probably about 20-foot tall, black stone monolith.
Well, that explains the monkeys.
And kind of near, like almost right beside the monolith, it looks like there's a tunnel, like into the ground.
There she blows, Captain.
Aye.
Well,
Time for the torches, I think.
Well, one at a time,
I'm not
I would
gonna-
think.
How big are we talking?
The pit, like the kind of the solidified
Oh,
solidified
the cave
top of the
entrance.
volcano. So the pit looks like it's about 50 feet down and about 30 feet across, so it's not super big, and the path does spiral counterclockwise down to the floor of it. The monolith itself is about 20 feet high, and then the cave or tunnel entrance next to it 8-9 feet across, maybe.
Oh, good. So it's not we have to crawl on our hands and knees.
No, it definitely,
Unless you want to.
definitely, and kind of specifically, since you're looking for it, it looks like it's traversable by a human.
All right. Claudius, Ragnar, lead us down. Kevin, keep an eye on
Ragnar's got a shield, so I'll take the torch.
that. Well, I can take the torch if you like.
Whichever.
I'll take the torch. Because there's a display. And displays are good for me.
Yeah, go for it.
So you make your way down this path to the, and it seems to kind of spiral around the inside of the pit in a counterclockwise motion until it leaves you on the bottom where you can see this monolith clearer now. So it's about 20 feet tall, about 4 feet thick. And it is like a twisted mass of black stone. It looks very similar to the stone that the idol that you found is made out of. It's pitted and scarred. To Tebian and Clytius, since you both have sharp senses, some of those edges on it look like they are razor sharp, like knife blades. You can't tell whether it was carved or whether it's natural, but there are very definitely pictographs carved into its surface.
Watch your step, buddies. Don't trigger anything.
Whoa, that looks sketchy.
Very sketchy.
Yep, looking out for whatever.
Watch where you're stepping. Be very light in your feet.
Slow and steady, gentlemen. Slow and steady.
So as you so you're starting to descend into the tunnel.
Yep.
Absolutely. My spear is out.
So the tunnel is it's about 6 feet high, maybe 8 feet, and about 4 feet wide. And it kind of circles around the black stone as it winds downward counterclockwise. You can tell with your torchlight that black stone monolith is the inside wall.
Okay.
So that monolith descends deeper and deeper into the ground. And as you guys enter in, I need to go to the bathroom, so we'll take a 5-minute break.
All right.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
right.
Okay.
All right.
We're all going to die in 5 minutes.
Gale forward and into the abyss.
Quite literally.
Vikings. God damn it.
Any way forward is a path to Valhalla. Or whatever the Conan verse is equivalent.
It's pretty much the same place, I think.
I think so. I haven't read up too much on it, but I think so.
Yeah, I think most of the countries are based essentially on real world places, right?
Yeah. With based on the real world cultures as well, like how what is it, Nordheim? Like, is pretty much just like fight for honor, die weapon in hand, and you'll reach the promised land.
Yeah, and I think that applies to most of the other places. There's, everything from Persia to, Middle Eastern stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Well, I like the lore. I don't know what I'd actually think of the game itself yet.
I like the mechanics myself, but
Just because, I haven't actually been around for much because I had to skip it last time, and then late,
yeah.
a little, just a wee late this time.
Have you played many of the D20 systems?
I've played D&D and Torg.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
This is completely different to me.
There's a learning curve here.
It's really good once you get used to it. So I played like the Star Trek game, the Fallout game, which are essentially the same kind of mechanics, more or less.
Yeah, I know. I also like that Cyberpunk playtest that came out a while back. Chris ran that, and I played that one too. But it was practically D&D, just a little different.
I'm digging this though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Modiphius does really good stuff. Their Star Trek game, as far as a game mechanic system goes, in my opinion, is one of the best I've seen.
I got the rules from that on PDF because I did one of those Humble Bundle things, but I've never actually read them.
Oh, it's really good. Really, really good. When Sentinel stops, my plan is to do Star Trek.
Maybe I better go back and watch Star Trek then.
It's so good. Like the way the mechanics interacts with the lore and the theme of the way Star Trek's supposed to work. It's unbelievable what they did with it.
Well, I'll go re-download my games then and maybe start watching the series. Which era would we be in?
It'd be next gen DS9 probably. I really like DS9, so probably around there. One of the cool things about that particular system is the ship itself is a character. It's not a playable character, but it's an NPC that you guys actually make yourself. So you give it refits, you give it specializations, it assists you in your tasks, right? So if you're navigating a nebula, the ship actually helps you. And if you're in a really good signed ship like Voyager, for example, it's very good at doing that. It's really neat. There's so many neat parts to it.
All right, so I'll start downloading that now, and I'll watch Deep Space Nine or something because I haven't watched that in years.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
All right, so as you guys make your way down this dark, twisting tunnel, I need everybody to give me an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. That's not a good.
Ugh.
Oh, wow.
Well done, Caro.
I live.
Who knew a bunch of sailors were good at acrobatics?
Well, I rolled a 19, so I don't know how good I was.
I still got one.
Just waiting for Clytius and Ragnar.
Yeah, I don't think they're back yet.
Back.
I'm preheating an oven here, so if I disappear for like a minute, it's because I'm throwing a pizza in the oven.
And just put it on your porch or balcony, it'll cook.
It would a couple of days ago, that's for sure.
What yesterday? Oh my goodness.
Alright, Don, I need an acrobatics check.
That can be good.
That's what we said.
That's 2.
Alright. Don't know if Zach is back or not.
Ruh-roh.
Alright. So, Ragnar, his feet give way underneath him on kind of this slick passage, and he just down into the darkness. Torch goes falling. And
I don't think Ragnar had the torch. Did he?
No, Carol's got the torch.
Okay, car's gonna touch. Okay. And accidentally brushes against the monolith.
Oh, shit.
That's probably not good.
Who brushed against the monolith?
Ragnar. Not sure if Zach is back or not.
He did say he wanted to go to Valhalla.
Are you there, Zach?
I have returned.
All right. So I will get you to give me an acrobatics check.
An acrobatics check. Okay, dokie. Let me just pull up Ragnar.
I made the checks while you're away, but it's probably better if you make them.
Alright. Acrobatics, you say.
Yes.
Difficulty?
Difficulty is 1.
Difficulty 1. Roll skill.
Okay, much better than my roll.
I take it didn't end very well.
No, it did not. But it's only fair if the player is available for the player to make the rolls.
Yeah.
So in another world, you slipped and fell and accidentally brushed against the monolith. But in this world, your feet almost go out from under you, but you manage to kind of catch yourself. You go, okay, no problem.
I am sturdy.
And as you make your way down under Karo's flickering torchlight, you descend probably about 30 or 40 feet under the earth, and that monolith is solid the whole way down. And you end up into a chamber, just put 15 feet across, with the kind of the black stone at the center, still extending up above into the earth. The cavern is just littered with bones. And the passage continues downward beside the monolith, but it is much steeper and much slicker. It winds deeper and deeper and steeper downwards till it opens up into a second chamber about 30 feet below the first chamber. And I will get somebody to give me a difficulty 2 observation test.
Ooh, I think that was Claudius.
Right.
Can Tibian help assist?
It's not really a help thing.
Okay.
I
My
will spend
observation's
one.
12.
I will spend one momentum for it, and I get one reroll.
That's good.
Okay, so you hear something in the passage below, rustling and hissing, and almost like a very low, very guttural giggling. Give me a discipline test.
Hmm.
Okie dokie. I do get a reroll on this.
Sketchy.
Reroll the 18, I guess. Nope.
So you are going to take 2 resolve damage.
You get the
Excellent. I absorb it with my 2 points of courage.
You don't even need the cap.
Courage. Couldn't happen at a worse time.
And at this point, the tunnel is almost completely vertical. This will be a difficulty 3 acrobatics test.
Good lord.
Is there any place where we could, I don't know, put a rope or something? Does anybody have a rope?
I don't believe so.
All right.
Let me double check though.
So what is it, like a sheer drop off?
It's like a good hefty gradient. It's still a slope. It's not completely vertical, but it's not far off.
Options, gentlemen?
I'd rather not dive into the deep dark hole.
Kill
Crazy.
forward and into the abyss, I say again.
I do not
Crazy
have rope.
carpets for everyone.
Just starts to put down shield as if about to ride it.
Now, hold on one moment. Tabian, how difficult would it be for us to fashion ourselves a rope if we went up back to the jungle?
That's a very good question, but I bet there's enough vines around here in this tropical jungle that we could probably do it.
There are plenty of vines, yes.
So I can do that.
That sounds like an idea. Let's go up and weave ourselves a climbing rope.
I mean, it's easy to get down, but it's a lot harder to get back up.
Yeah, I concur.
And this is why you're the captain, because I didn't think about that.
Right, now put your shield back on.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys carefully make your way back up. Probably for the most part keeping to like all fours to make your way up, but it's a little bit of a trek, but you manage to do it. Vines are plentiful in the jungle, so give me a crafting roll.
That's Tabian for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, you
Do I
got
want to
this.
use any momentum or anything like this, or just roll and we'll see how much rope we want?
You're really good at it, right?
Yeah, I got a 16.
Yeah, so
Might as well
spend,
use one.
Yeah, spend one at least. You'll get more back, in theory.
Yeah, spend one to get more. Rawr.
Or
Do you
not.
have a reroll as well?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You might
One.
under craftsman or tradesman.
All right.
Yeah, somewhere in the talents.
Talents. I have tradesman. What's that say?
Oh no, that's you can when you're carousing, you can trade work
Right.
for gold. Okay.
Sage, scribe, sharp hunter, sharp senses hunter, subject.
Yeah, there's a craft talent called journeyman. I think that lets you reroll on crafts.
Maybe I should use some of my 300 hero points to use that eventually.
Probably be a really good thing because you've seen how powerful the reroll ability is.
Yeah.
Yeah, journeyman is you can either re-roll or you can spend a doom to lower the difficulty by one. So it's like a double-edged.
Oh, wow. That's great.
But Tebian does manage to fasten some vine rope with 2 successes. It's a like a good sturdy rope. You guys are confident in its ability to bear your weight.
And we break even on the momentum.
Yeah.
All is well.
So make your way back. This time you know to kind of brace yourselves. You've got the rope, so you can find an anchor point for it. Use it to kind of guide yourself, and you get back to the very steep place. With the rope, this will turn it into a difficulty 1 acrobatics check, with the ability to re-roll once because it's gear.
That's much more attainable.
And that's individual?
Yep.
Okay.
Fuck me. Okay.
There you
There we go.
Good thing you guys thought of the rope.
So, a reroll, you say?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I'm slipping. Oh, Dave!
So, the other pile of chips that we personally have, what can we use them for?
The fortune points.
Yeah.
Fortune points you can use. Let me double check.
Can you use one to unfuck yourself?
Bingo.
At least we'll know how far down it is.
I'll be right, folk dear.
Guys, a walking explosive will absolutely know where the bottom is.
I
Well,
mean,
they're
could take
stable.
care of the sorcerer all at one go.
It's not like it's nitro, but yeah. That way you'd have plenty of light too for down the staircase.
Or
You
you
were always my favorite.
grab out your explosives, throw them down before you, and cushion your fall with the explosion.
So you can add a d20 to a skill test, automatically set to a 1. Perform an additional action, second win, overcome a weakness, so ignore penalties, or influence the story. So spend a fortune point to introduce a fact, or you add a detail to the current scene.
So can I spend a fortune point then retroactively to give myself a guaranteed 1?
I'll say yes for now, but now everybody's aware of this ability, so from now on you'll have to declare it when you make the rolls.
Fair. or
Or something soft to land on.
hmm,
I mean, there's probably a fresh corpse down there that's pretty soft.
yeah, you never know. But it means I end up having to keep the complication, right?
You do have to keep the complication, yes.
Kind of sounds like you're keeping it regardless.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way around not getting the complication, but I can at least make sure that I succeed. So I'll spend a talent point, and I will get the guaranteed one.
Okay, perfect. And I need Ragnar to acrobatics as well. Oh, there we go.
Look at that, even got momentum.
Hell yeah.
Uh,
I'm good at ropes.
So, what do we do? Rory, give me a discipline test.
Nah, it's good being courageous.
One sec, guys.
It is difficulty 3.
Oof.
So I'm going to spend a momentum to get the third dice.
Or 2.
All right, 2 for 2 extra dice.
Well done.
Got that covered.
Okay, so it generate you 1 momentum because it is difficulty 3. So you take 1 point of damage to resolve, but thanks to Karo, you kind of shrug it off. But as
No, I
you...
have courage anyway, so
Okay, perfect.
yeah, I get 2 of them for free.
All right. But as you brush against the monolith, your mind is flooded with visions. You see, at first there was only darkness. Then a feeling that there is something coiled within the bowels of the earth, where the black stone has its roots. You see strange, hunched, hairy men finding the monolith, shrieking and fearful.
Yee.
But then they take one of their number and take it into the base of the stone and slash his throat, throwing the body into the tunnel beside it. This is repeated countless times, and each time you see the hunchmen becoming upright, more sophisticated. Their fur garments changing to cloth and jewelry, and other signs of civilization. But always the sacrifices at the foot of the stone. There are priests resplendent in magnificent robes and jewelry, slaves, kings, queens. Then there's nothing, as the shadows grow around the monolith and the jungle closes overhead. But just before the vision ends, something large and blurry seeps out from the passage beside the monolith. You guys, the rest of you, you see Rory as he almost slips and falls and grabs his potion so that he doesn't bang them and set them all off. He kind of brushes up against the monolith, the black stone, and then he just starts laying there on the ground, twitching and convulsing.
I'm getting a real 2001: A Space Odyssey vibe from this.
It's like little 2001, little Lovecraftian. Yeah.
Tabian,
Yes, Captain.
do you want to do something about this?
An epileptic fit?
You're all smart and stuff.
I don't know. I got 14 for healing. Anything I can do with that?
It would be counseling, actually.
Counseling.
Counseling.
I have a 7 for counseling.
Yeah, it's under personality.
That's somebody with personality.
Oh, apologies. Apparently, this is something I should be doing.
Lead by example, Captain.
Can we pull him off the? Is he touching it? He's laying prone, touching it, kind of thing.
No, like as he kind of brushed up against it, he just started convulsing and then like fell.
All right, so yeah, I'll grab a hold of him. Give him a good shake, slap across the face, because my counseling is command based. All right, sailor, wake up. What's going on? Come to your senses. We're on the fire. That's counsel.
Yep.
I'll use momentum. Actually, is he like stunned?
He is deep in the throes of a vision.
I'll spend 2.
Give him a piece of leather to bite on so he doesn't bite his toe.
Well, there you go, boys. It is what it is.
Those dice are all over the place.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
I don't know what that does, but I'm interested to know.
All right. So you're trying to kind of snap Rory out of this, and it seems like no matter what you do, like he's just gone. Like you like pull open his eyelids and nobody home. For probably the better part of an hour. But yeah, so Cairo can give me a discipline test.
Discipline. It's 1.
You are gonna take 5 resolve damage,
Ouch.
minus whatever you have for courage.
I have 0 courage, and I don't think that my inspiring leader protects me.
I don't believe it does.
I have a lot of resolve, though.
But that is enough to inflict a trauma.
Sure is.
And you, as you're like trying to like get through to Rory and kind of bring him out of whatever it is that's kind of got him in its grasp, you feel something impossibly ancient and impossibly alien. Just kind of reach out and very gently kind of caress your mind. It doesn't, like, you don't hear any words or anything, but you can feel something. Almost like if somebody was to like lightly tickle the back of your spine with their fingers. It's like that to your brain.
Apparently the great old ones don't know consent.
Consent is implied.
It is not.
I feel like we've entered into a Cthulhu game.
Lovecraft and Howard were pen pals, and there's a shared
magic.
universe between the two.
Magic is bad. Just FYI.
Tab in.
Yes, Captain?
Find me a way to destroy this monolith. It is vexing me.
Well, that's probably something I can work on.
You can do it.
Did we find the source of the cackling, giggling nonsense when we arrived down below?
Well, right now you guys haven't gotten all the way below yet because, like I said, it's going to take about an hour or so for Rory to kind of come out of this vision.
Alrighty then. I will stay on guard for cackling, giggling nonsense.
I mean, unless you would like to continue on while he recovers.
Nope.
No, I don't think we want to do that.
Just gonna be ready.
Ragnar will do the same.
Rory, you are very good at blowing things up. You and Tebian put your heads together, trying to figure out a way to breathe this thing down. I don't like it. I don't want it anywhere near us.
I think Rory is still catatonic.
All right,
Yeah.
smack.
I
Listen
would
to
like
what
to
I'm
use.
telling you.
I would like to use craft skills to turn this into spare parts.
Okay. You can definitely make a crafting roll. And
Do we have any momentum I can use on this, guys?
there's 2.
I will take 1.
And just for future reference, there is actually a crafting talent called Sabotage.
Nice.
Actually, you might as well just take both of them that way because you've got really good crafting skills, right? So you'll probably generate a pile of momentum.
Okay, I will take both. This, I don't know if sabotage. I mean, I'm literally reducing the statue into bricks almost.
Yep. You can
For cobblestone road. I'm turning into materials for a cobblestone road.
Yeah, you can basically you're kind of assessing it to see what you would need to do.
Well, that's not the best roll.
Yeah, 2 successes is good.
Looking at it, like like Rory just brushed against it and he's down. So you're like, whatever we do, we have to make sure that nobody touches it, and you're not entirely sure if like the chips or splinters or anything would have the same effect if they were like flying all over the place. You gather your best bet for destroying this thing. Like it is like a large column of stone. At this point, you're estimating it's at least 100 feet tall and about 4 feet wide. But whatever is supporting it, if you can get to the base, that's probably your best bet. You might be able to, if you had like proper stone, like hammer and chisel and days to work on it, you might be able to chisel it, but it's going to take a long time. It's a 4 feet thick piece of stone.
Chisel it just a little bit.
All right. Well, what do you think, Captain? Actually, 1 second. I'm gonna pull this pizza out of the oven.
Rory, how are you feeling?
I would say he's probably starting to come to by this point.
Oh, Captain, my head hurts. What the hell? I haven't even been drinking.
That's why your head hurts. That's why mine's hurting.
So, I can probably get this done, but it's going to take like 8 hours, 10 hours,
Or a month.
or a month with the tools.
I
Well,
don't think we got that long to wait around.
If the best way to break it is from the bottom, we might as well see what the bottom is, y'all.
Let's work on it.
Ragnar, Claudius,
Aye, it is.
lead us on.
Moving forward, Captain.
So with your rope, you manage to make it down to the bottom of this tunnel. It kind of levels out. And there are a lot of bones here on the floor.
Human bones?
They look mostly human.
Ancient bones or recent bones?
Ancient.
So what you're saying is someone really hasn't been sacrificed here recently.
What does that mean?
Probably means that the religion is no longer active.
Or they ran out.
All right, let's take a look around.
What?
Let's be careful.
Or we have a
What?
wizard desperate for sacrifice.
When I rubbed up against it, I saw all these images. Lots of sacrificing, but as they were doing it, it's like they were starting out like monkeys, but then they just started to turn more and more human, and they started to actually have civilization, and then nothing.
You got a theory, Debian?
My theory, there was a not yet. I kind of want to know what this wizard's like. I want to know if he's part of this religion, and if he's going to sacrifice people to put himself ascend to another level himself. Or if we take all his stuff away, if he turns into one of these little monkey people that our friend is talking about.
Well, I don't know anything about a wizard, but there's something that's thinking inside that thing.
And giggling.
Well, it certainly explains why the animals here have been evolving.
Yeah. And as you guys are talking, you can, again, all of you now can hear that that same sort of guttural, giggling, breathing, like rasping sound, just kind of emanating around this chamber.
Well, I don't like that at all.
I don't know about you gentlemen, but my instinct tells me to find it and kill it. Any objections?
None.
Aye.
We're stuck on the same island with it for now, so let's kill it.
I'm not going to wait for it to kill us.
Aye, it does seem to want to make me tempt every night.
All right, Ragnar, Claudius, lead us in.
Yep.
I have the sudden instinct to make a shield wall.
We don't do that on the boats.
If we had a few more shields.
If only.
Well, I have a shield. You want mine?
It kind of involves stacking up on each other here, shield to make that wall. We don't really have enough for it. But it's just that nagging instinct that at this moment where danger's most likely afoot, a shield wall seems right now.
I'll take it if you don't want it. Or don't need it.
Well, it's better in your hands than mine, I would think.
And as you guys discuss, you can see this thick, very familiar looking fog coalescing and kind of like emanating from the little bit of the pillar that you can see.
All right, so Carol's got to pass out the other 3 torches.
Okay.
And everybody will get one except who's got shields? So Claudius got a shield now.
Ragnar has a shield.
Ragnar has a shield, so me and Tibian and who's the last guy? Rory will have torches. We'll light them up. Keep one in reserve to get the hell out of here if we have to.
All right. And Clytius, as you move in, you can see that the fog starts to coalesce into this kind of like multi-limbed, vaguely translucent, mostly solid, tentacled thing. I'm going to need everybody to give me difficulty 2 discipline tests.
Major. Nope.
We've got none in the box.
Nope.
Ah, good. Reroll 15. There we go.
Done. Oof.
Okay, so Karo failed. Ragnar failed. And waiting for Tibian.
And this is a discipline.
Difficulty 2 discipline test.
Discipline. Oh, I don't have any discipline.
That's problematic.
Yeah, try the club.
All right, so Karo and Tibian and Ragnar failed. Okay. So, Karo. Gets away lucky with only 5 trauma.
Ouch. And that's another injury, right?
That is.
Did we recover from our...
You would have recovered your resolve and your vigor, yes.
And resolve, total resolve is based on...
Willpower plus
X discipline.
discipline, yeah. All right, against Ragnar. Ragnar only takes 3.
And everybody gets 4 cover from me, anyway.
So what's up?
Roll,
You took
roll 4 combat dice to soak.
no. It's not combat dice. It's a flat out courage resolve, I believe, or is it dice?
Oh, I thought you were rolling it before.
Let's check the talent.
Talent gives 4 dice of cover.
Okay, it is 4 dice. Okay. So yeah, so roll 4d6 there, Zach, to soak up some of this incoming trauma.
4d6. It's been so long, I don't know where just the normal dice are.
Slash R space 4d6.
Okay.
One, two, three, 4. You soak 4. You're good.
Yay!
And against Tebian. That is going to be 6 mental damage. But you can
That goes to
roll-
resolve.
Goes to resolve, but you do get to roll 4 dice to soak some of it. One, two, three. So you soak 3 of it, so you only take 3.
That's still ouch.
So yes, so this foggy tentacled creature basically just kind of like forms out of the fog pouring out of the monolith. But you guys are up.
How do you
Live
attack
it up,
fog?
Roy.
Well, you said it does seem semi-solid.
Yeah, it is. It is partially solid.
Well, if it's partially solid, it can partially burn.
If it can burn, it can bleed, it can die.
So I will chuck my second to last potion. Hope I don't need more.
God, I wish we had more.
Yeah, the apes kind of sucked up. But, however, they were dangerous.
We gotta get you some regular things to throw, I think.
I just have to learn to make even more if we're going to go on these adventures.
You should have to get to a town. If
All
we
right,
can
so
get
we don't
to a
have any
town, we'll be
momentum.
fine.
So we're out of momentum currently?
You are.
Okie dokie. I'm going to re-roll the 18.
Yep. All right, that will give
There we
you a momentum and 4 dice of damage.
Okay.
One, two, three, 4 damage.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it because that one momentum, I don't want to use it because someone else might do better with it. So I'm just going to leave it as is. 4 damage. We'll see what happens.
They get 2 effects, so it's burning, right?
Yeah, it did. It did spread, so like fire kind of like flows all through it. It looks like it took the fire hit pretty severely.
And I figured if the fog itself is afraid of the fire, then the creature itself is probably very, very susceptible. All right. Who's up next?
Oh, I guess I'll go since we've got a momentum.
Absolutely. Make some more.
Can you add me a momentum, Chris? It won't let me spend 2.
There you go.
Oh, it's gonna be juice.
Okay. That is a nicely, definitely connects with it.
Okay.
You can roll your damage.
Reroll the 2 blanks. It's gonna be 6, 7, 8.
8 damage.
Did we have any momentum?
Yeah, you generated. Was it 3?
Yep.
So it is largely not there to your sword. You do manage to catch something slightly solid, and you think that maybe you wounded it, and it definitely the fog that kind of forms its body flashes like a very deep red color.
Mm-hmm. The fog flashed blue when it was scared. I don't remember it flashing red before.
It flashed red when it hit the fire, right?
Oh, good. That means I probably heard it. Excellent. I'll feel better about when it clubs me in the face.
Yeah, you probably just pissed it off.
All right, that will leave us with Ragnar, Karo, and Tebian.
I wish to stab it.
Okay.
I wish him to stab it.
All right.
The captain concurs.
1 second.
As a sage, I suggest we cut this thing to ribbons.
So, do I just hit spear? It's been a while since I've
Yep.
attacked anything.
Yeah, if you just hit spear, it should give you an option to attack and then an option for damage.
Attack. We have, what, 3 momentum to use?
Yes, let me put it in the pool.
How many do I want to use, guys?
2?
2?
Yeah, you're good at this.
Alright, and it's just normal difficulty?
It
Or 1?
It is difficulty 1.
Okie dokie. Let's stab it.
Yes, that will successfully stab it. Give you a momentum in the process.
Now I roll damage. Do I add anything here or just roll damage?
Just roll damage.
Two effects generated.
Momentum to
And-
re-roll those blanks wouldn't hurt.
Just 1 second, I think I actually might have something I can do. Because I think I did something last when I originally named the spear. Because I believe I have no mercy.
Yeah, reroll number damage dice equal to the total number of melee talents you have.
That's a good one.
Yeah. How many melee talents do I have?
2, I think. Blood on Steel and No Mercy.
Sounds good. So any of those blank ones can be?
Yep.
And then what do I do once I've selected those 2? It's not... Oh, reroll selected.
Yep.
We're good. I figured it out.
Nicely done.
Good, Jordan.
So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage.
Hiya!
Okay. So yeah, so between Ragnar and Clytius, this thing kind of like it's like looks like it's trying to kind of retreat a little bit, trying to like pull itself back into the monolith.
It's running! It's a coward!
All right, that leaves us with Tebian and Karo.
Go get it, Tebian.
All right, I will do it without momentum. Hopefully, I'll get a momentum, and Cairo can take it and carve him up. Oof.
Well, it does hit, so there's that.
Oof.
So I got a complication and an effect.
Yeah. All right. So Tebian, you joined the other two, and between the combined assault, you do manage to basically drive it back into the monolith. You do, like, as you're like kind of stabbing at it, you kind of catch the tip because the thing's not completely solid. You catch your tip in one of the skeletons littering the floor, and your spear does break.
Damn it. I have to repair the spear because I made it myself a long, long time ago.
It's like 2 days ago.
No, his spear he's had for quite a while.
Oh, it's the... Okay, yeah.
It's part of my old original
ancestral
storyline.
spear.
No, I crafted it on a battlefield and saved
But yeah,
some
under
pumpkin with it.
under the combined assault of the three of them, it basically kind of goes from a red to blue to kind of like a yellowish color as it kind of retreats back into the monolith. But you do see the monolith start to crack as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was not giggling.
It was not. And as you watch, pieces of the monolith start to flake off.
Isn't this what we want? Don't we want to crash this monolith?
And then larger pieces start to break off it.
Maybe we should leave the room, guys.
Time to go, gentlemen.
Is there anywhere to go down here?
There's not. It looks like there's just this one central kind of sacrificial chamber.
Right. Try to find some cover.
Back up the ropes, maybe?
You don't want to be on a rope if a piece of that stone hits you.
Let's get out of here.
That'll
If this monolith
rock
goes
you
down,
up,
we'll all
laddies.
come
We really
down.
do.
There's no little corridors or anything around here?
There's not. And as you guys are debating what to do, a large section of the monolith basically just shears off like a cliff during, like one of the ice sheets during global warming, just shears off and falls.
Yeah, I think we should climb this rope no matter what.
Up the rope, gentlemen.
I'm up the
Go,
rope.
go.
I ain't waiting for the order. I'm climbing
right.
up that rope.
Ragnar is covering the retreat.
Okay.
Don't run away.
All right. I will get everybody to give me. It would be athletics to climb the rope back up.
All right,
Not
let's do-
acrobatics?
No,
Let's do this in-
acrobatics is for kind of repelling downwards, but it's athletics to climb because you need to use your physical body strength.
Right. I'm going to spend another talent for guaranteed 1.
Okay. Yep. That's what fortune points are for.
Yeah, I've got 2 left. I'll spend 1.
Definitely spending 1.
I rolled before I knew I could do that.
Fortune points are great for when you really need to succeed right away.
Yeah. And I don't actually, it says that I don't actually have to do the roll. I can just take the 1 and be done.
You can if you so choose.
Is the 1 a success?
Yes, it is. If
Then
you-
I will not choose to complicate my life any further.
Good plan.
I'll put some momentum in the pool.
Look at that.
That's why you're the favorite.
Woo!
So you guys book it, and the cavern is collapsing behind you. But thankfully, you guys did plan ahead and brought the rope, because otherwise this could have been very, very bad. You managed to kind of pull yourself out, and as you kind of get to the top of the tunnel, you can see that the whole kind of caldera of the volcano is collapsing inward.
Well, that should take care of things.
You kind of book it up the path, and just as you get to the top, you can feel the first semblance of heat at your heels.
Yeah, we should probably go.
Run.
Followed by a thick plume of smoke.
Book it.
Volcano gods are angry.
Volcano be volcano.
Well, if we're gonna go big, we might as well go home. Let's get out of here.
So yeah, you guys managed to get away before the volcano erupts. But it is now very much an active volcano. But it is a fair ways away from your campsite, so you'll be okay. So none the worse for wear, other than some mild trauma here and there. You guys have successfully defeated the Blur Demon.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's a little mild trauma among friends?
I am quite traumatized.
Yeah, the key thing there was the fire bypasses its incorporeal ability, so it did a shitload of damage to it.
Cool.
That's the way it usually is with most supernatural things in Conan, I find, or I have found in the past.
Fire burns most things.
Something's burning.
Well, we
Fire
made
hot.
torches. We made a rope. Turns out that we're not as stupid as we look.
Killed a demon.
Yeah, having the rope was pretty key.
That Earsby was willing to slide in on a shield.
The difficulty 3 to get back up without the rope may have been
Brutal.
problematic.
I think it
Clydeus-
would have killed us.
Clydeus really didn't want to come in the first place.
It's fitting that he got the most successes on the way back out.
It really is.
He really wanted to be back out. He'd want to go in the first place.
Get
Might
me
not
out
be
of
going
here.
home, but getting the fuck out of here.
But yes, you guys can make it back to the Windblade. And as you do, you can when you approached at the top of the mountain, there were no jungle sounds. Everything was quiet. But as you're making your way back, you can feel the sounds starting to filter back in.
Cool. When we get back to the boat, we will inform them there's an active volcano on this island, and you should not slack when you're putting this boat back together.
Double time it, yes, sir.
Indeed, gentlemen.
But yes, you guys have managed to pacify the island.
Woohoo!
You know,
Didn't even need a sacrifice.
at least for the next 100 years or so.
Hopefully, we won't have to worry about it then.
That sounds like somebody else's problem.
But
Karo's gonna need therapy, right?
Karo has definitely seen some shit.
Yeah. He's really good at faking his confidence at the moment, but he's pretty shaken.
Nothing a good drink won't fix.
All right. So the rest of the time on the island, getting the Windblade together, you get a chance to fully explore the island. You don't find anything of any note. Some dangerous creatures here and there. Giant spiders, giant pigs, that sort of thing. But nothing else unnatural.
We'll definitely make sure we bag some giant crab for dinner.
We'll have to get as much fiery berries as we can for Rory to play with.
Oh yeah, I tend to spend all the time here stocking up on the burn one.
So yeah, we'll say that you can get. Basically, you get some. You use some when you encounter the giant spiders, the giant pigs, and stuff. So we'll say you can leave the island with 6 ingredients worth of concoctions.
Okay, so I still have my one spider poison blinding, and I've got the one burning one. I will turn the other 6 into burning ones.
Okay. And by the time that the boat is ready, you guys have definitely had your fill of this island for the time being.
Yeah.
I had my fill on the first day.
Imagine Clytius is like tapping his foot, standing on the beach, going like,
Just like, let's get this done, boys.
So yes, you can lay on some supplies, get some fresh water from the lagoon, fill up on like some fruits and berries and wild pig meat and that variety, and set course for Tortage, which is where we will pick up the next game.
All right.
All right.
That was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
It's a great game, lads. Great game.
Very
XPs?
great.
Yep. You guys can get. I'm going to say. Where's my thing? I will say 190 XP.
What should our total be at? Because I haven't spent a single experience point.
This
That makes it 490, doesn't it?
490.
490? Alright.
I haven't spent any either,
Yeah.
but I am going to make sure that I can do this reroll and crafting.
So
I'd
yeah,
like to be better at killing things.
the basic kind of 150 per session, but then bonus for good ideas with the fire and the ropes, and then also defeating the demon.
We cleansed the island.
Do we spend long enough on the water to take care of?
Yes, between the time waiting for the boat and the time that you'll spend on the water getting to Tortage, you guys can heal your actual heal as opposed to just treat.
Oh, thank
Nice.
Excellent.
Yay!
God. All right, gentlemen.
Wandering wounds won't break open.
Well done.
And next session, you guys will
Play in the Pirate Kingdom.
be in Tortage, which is as far as dens of scum and villainy go, it is the most villainous and scummiest.
It's also the starter area in Age of Conan, if anybody's played that.
Oh, it is too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I've played Age of Conan in quite a while.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I think they still have active servers, actually.
Yeah, and it's free to play.
Oh, no.
As long as it's full of sketchy people and not sketchy monsters, that sounds good to me.
There is no non-sketchy person in Tortage.
I'm sure we'll fit right in.
And when we get there, that will stay the same.
Good point. It's full of runaway slaves, and I'm a runaway slave, so yes.
There we go.
Stabbed a man in Tortage just to watch him die.
Perfect. All right. Well, have a good night, folks.
Thank you for the
Good
game,
as well.
Chris.
Thanks for the game, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Take care, fellas.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep. We'll see. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I said see you in a week.
Yes. A week for some of you, less than a week for some others.